Hi, today I'm going to read A Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. As I'm reading this, you as teachers, I want you to be thinking about story awareness, language awareness, print awareness, those very important areas of literacy for pre-K kids. Be thinking about how this story fits in to those very important areas. A Very Hungry Caterpillar. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up, and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and very hungry caterpillar. He started to look for some food. On Monday, he ate through one apple. Here he goes. He's going to eat right through it. And here he comes out the other side. On Tuesday, he ate through 1, 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 1, 2, 3 plums, but he was still hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 1, 2, 3, 4 strawberries, but he was still hungry. On Friday, he ate through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oranges, but he was still hungry. On Saturday, he ate through 1 piece of chocolate cake, 1 ice cream cone, 1 pickle, 1 slice of Swiss cheese, 1 slice of salami, 1 lollipop, 1 piece of cherry pie, 1 sausage, 1 cupcake, and 1 slice of watermelon. That night, he had a stomachache. I wonder why he had a stomachache. Why do you think? Tell your friend why you think he had a stomachache. The next day was Sunday again. The caterpillar ate through 1 nice big green leaf, and he felt very much better. But he wasn't a hungry caterpillar anymore, and he wasn't a little caterpillar anymore. He was a big, fat caterpillar. Why? Why was he so big? What do you think? He built a small house called a cocoon around himself. He stayed inside for more than 2 weeks. Then he nibbled a hole in the cocoon and he pushed his way out. And what do you think? What happened to him? He was a beautiful butterfly. All right. Now, you notice that I had a few little sticky notes. This is what you do when you do an interactive read aloud. You're thinking about questions to ask the children to help them think about the story. So the questions that I asked, one of them was, why did he have a stomachache? That was an inference question. It didn't tell us why he had a stomachache, but we know he ate all that food on Saturday night. We're making an inference to say, oh, he ate too much junk food. Okay, another question that I asked was, why did he get bigger? Why wasn't he a little caterpillar anymore? And again, you're making inferences, or the children are making inferences. They might infer, they might say that he ate all that food and he got bigger because he ate all that food, which would be correct. But they also might say he was growing. You know, he was growing, he was a baby, and then he was growing. And that can get into discussions about the children and how they are growing and how they used to be babies and then they were toddlers and now they're preschoolers. And that could get into lots of talk about that. Both of those questions were inferences. The last question I asked in this book was a prediction. What do you think the caterpillar, what will happen to the caterpillar? What will he be? And that was a prediction. Okay, all of those inferences, predictions are thinking about the story, thinking about what happens in the story. So, reading is thinking. That's what reading is. Reading is making meaning. Okay, there's a lot of things that go into reading, but if you are not making meaning of the text, you are not reading. Okay, that's why it's so important to ask questions to encourage children's thinking and to have them practice and get used to thinking about the story. Okay, and of course they're using the picture cues, which this book has wonderful, beautiful illustrations, very appealing to children. Now, I ask you to think about story awareness and language awareness and print awareness. And what are the children gaining by listening and participating in this read aloud in each of those areas? I think this is a really, really good book for story awareness. Remember, story awareness is, what is a story? What's it consist of? A story has a beginning, middle, and an end. That kind of thing. Just a notion of what a story really is. The reason I think that this is an excellent book for story awareness is because of the sequence of the story. Very detailed sequencing. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then it was Sunday again. And each of those days he did a different thing. It even visually shows the sequence by showing the pages of the days. All of that is helping children understand, first this happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. This book also has a very distinct, very definite beginning. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. One Sunday morning, the warm sun came up and pop! Out of the egg came a tiny and a very hungry caterpillar. That's a very definite beginning, a good way to get into the story. It illustrates a good beginning. And then it goes on through the sequence of the story. It also has very definite ending because not only did he feel better after he ate the green leaf, but he went on to make the cocoon, and the true ending was that he turned into the caterpillar. So that was a very distinct ending. So I think this is a very good read aloud for story awareness. And you can do many activities for story awareness afterwards. Like this would be one activity that you could sequence. Now I've already got these into sequence. You can sequence them with the children after they're very familiar with the story. And you can have the caterpillar go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all through the story, and then he ate the green leaf, and then he made a cocoon, and then out came the butterfly. So that's a sequencing or a retelling of the story that you could do on another day. You can act out the story with caterpillars as well. For language awareness, remember, language awareness is for children becoming aware of the language of a book, which is different than just talking language sometimes. And this book has a lot of value for language awareness. For example, that beginning again, when it gets to one Sunday morning, the warm sun came up. That's talking like a book. One Sunday morning. You're not just saying, on Sunday, the sun came up. One Sunday morning, the sun came up, and pop! Very interesting word. Out of the egg came a tiny and a very hungry caterpillar. The other very good thing for language awareness are the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Another good thing for language awareness are the words such as caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly, the science vocabulary that you're learning. However, I guess I have to add this. This book is not scientifically correct, as my first and second graders pointed out one time. And they wrote the author, Eric Carle, to tell him that it was not correct, but we never heard back from him. Here's why. The caterpillar in this story made a cocoon. Okay, well, some caterpillars make cocoons. But if a caterpillar makes a cocoon, out comes a moth. Okay. Now, this is a butterfly. The butterfly is correct. See the antenna? Butterflies have antenna with little balls on the top. Moths have antennas with feathery things. So this is a butterfly. But if this butterfly is going to come out of something, it's not going to be a cocoon. It's going to be a chrysalis. Same concept, but it's a chrysalis, and it looks kind of different. Now, my first and second graders knew this and realized this when we were studying life cycles, and we actually had the chrysalises. We had caterpillars, and they turned into chrysalises, and then they came out to be butterflies. And so they understood that. However, it's still a beautifully illustrated book with a lot of advantages for pre-K kids. Think of the art things you could do with this. Think of the math activities you could do with this, as well as the language and reading activities. Now, we haven't talked about print awareness. Print awareness is the book handling skills and the actual awareness of the print in the book, and the print tells the story and things like that. For all read alouds, you are teaching book handling skills, definitely. You're modeling that. And you can teach some print awareness skills, but there are other ways to do that are better. But for this book and for what kids are going to be learning about book awareness is what they would learn with every read aloud. How the teacher's holding the book. Where is the front of the book? The teacher opens it up this way. The teacher turns the pages this way. And they may or may not notice the teacher is looking at the text to tell the story. Now, if you wanted to emphasize that more, you would point to each word as you're reading. In this book, I would not do that because the illustrations are beautiful. The story is told through the illustrations. I would emphasize in this book the meaning of the story and some of the language of the story. So I would not be pointing to words at all in this book. In others, you can. And especially if you have a big book, big version of a book, where the words are bigger. You can do that. But they're understanding front a book, how to handle a book, how to open a book, how to turn the pages, that kind of thing, which are very basic, fundamental things you need to know to read a book. And so when you are reading aloud, and you're reading aloud daily, and you're doing activities and having reading books that are of interest to them and beautiful illustrations, and after you've done some activities with this book, with the class, like retelling the story, acting it out, doing some things together with this book, certainly it goes into the library, in the kids' library, so that they can read it themselves. And after hearing this book and enjoying the story and doing activities about the sequence of this book, they're going to know this book. And they're going to be able to open up and read it, which means they're telling the story through the pictures. They're going to remember some of that language, like pop. They're probably going to add that into their story. Okay? So, in this way, this read aloud book is very, very good for story awareness, good for language awareness, and modeling print awareness as well. As well as there's lots of interesting things in here. It would fit in with things that you are learning, like caterpillars, like bugs, like life cycles, all of that kind of stuff in science as well. So